Don't fall for the gaslighting. Trump is not popular. Winning the popular vote by 1.5% does not mean a candidate is popular. Winning a plurality of the votes does not mean a candidate is popular. Today, we're going to talk about the myth perpetuated by Republicans that Trump is somehow popular. That even though his approval rating never got above 50% in his first term, now people realize how great he is after he's been convicted of crimes, incited an insurrection on the Capitol, and describes his political opponents as vermin. Apparently that stuff is all popular according to the Republican defenders of his and the far-right users on X. So I have this article here from MSNBC. Republicans insist that Trump is hugely popular. His approval ratings say otherwise. And before you go, oh, well, that's MSNBC, so we can just discard it. No, they're actually going to be pointing out objective stuff. They're going to be making arguments based off of it, but they're pointing out objective stuff about his approval ratings. This is not a subjective spin. Not once, but twice during her confirmation hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee, Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi interrupted a Republican questioning her to emphasize Donald Trump's margin of victory. When Senator Ted Cruz noted that Trump won the election, Bondi added, by 77.3%, 77.3 million Americans. Later, Senator Mike Crapo, the Republican of Idaho, mentioned that Trump won, and Bondi piped up to say, 312 electoral votes, Senator, to which he replied, a landslide. Now, Barack Obama won with 330 some electoral votes in 2012, and he won with 365 electoral votes in 2008. So I wonder if they would call those victories a landslide, or if they are just partisan hacks who are out to simp for Donald Trump and gaslight the American people into thinking that he's popular. I wonder which it is. It was a reminder that even Trump's choices for the most ostensibly nonpartisan cabinet positions act like cultists eager to massage Trump's tender ego. But the Republicans' reminders of Trump's victory obscures an important weakness, and Democrats should be paying close attention. Yes, Democrats, please stop capitulating to Trump. Thank you. Republicans are more desperate than ever to convince the public that Trump is hugely popular and that opposing him and his policies will be politically disastrous for Democrats. Nothing could be further from the truth. Trump was a historically unpopular president the first time around, and so far it looks as though he'll face the same widespread public opposition in his second term. Okay, so as you can see, yeah, they're definitely putting some opinion in there, but the fact remains that he was not popular. The fact remains that this guy never went above 50% in his approval rating. And conversely, he went as low as 29%. 29%. It's estimated that roughly 30% of Americans at times are in the Trump supporting base. So yeah, it really was an experiment in how unpopular Trump could get, how much of his supporters he could chip away at, and how many of them were willing to walk to the gates of hell with Trump. Exaggerating the size of a president's victory is not new. After George W. Bush won re-election in 2004, for instance, he bragged about spending his new political capital. But this time, the scale of the hyperbole is classically Trumpian. As much as Republicans want to throw around words like landslide and mandate, 2024 was one of the closest elections in history. Trump beat Harris in the popular vote by less than 1.5%. Only one election in the last half century was closer. That would be 2000 with George W. Bush and Al Gore. And the razor-thin margins by which Republicans control both the House and the Senate testify to how closely the electorate is divided. Okay, so I was not aware that George W. Bush was exaggerating the size of his own victory. But here's something for you. I mean, the way that Trump is doing this and the way that his supporters are trying to gaslight people, let's not mince words. It's fascistic. It's fascism to do that. That's something that fascists do, is they distort reality to help their leader look good, to make people think that they're more popular than they actually are, and they distort it on large-scale levels. So I don't think George W. Bush is a fascist for saying he has political capital after the election, but I think it's fascistic for Trump supporters to tell the American people that they need to obey Trump because, oh, look how popular he is. And it's really insane that Democrats are starting to be convinced of that, as this MSNBC article is noting. Still, most new presidents typically enjoy a honeymoon period. Fresh from their election victory, the public invests them with hopes for positive change and gives them the benefit of the doubt. Biden, for instance, had 57% approval in the first Gallup poll of his presidency. Can you imagine Trump having 57%? He never came anywhere close. Barack Obama came in at 67% approval. Even Bush, who like Trump lost the popular vote in his first victory, started at 57%. In fact, Trump was the only president in the Gallup poll's history going all the way back to Harry S. Truman, who entered office with an approval rating under 50%. He was also the only one to never crack 50% approval for a single day of an entire term. Popular president, huh? Popular president. Now, look, Democrats and people in progressive media would consistently talk about Biden's honeymoon during the honeymoon period, but they wouldn't lie to you when Biden's approval rating was garbage. And in fact, many progressives said that Biden should step out of the race because his approval ratings was in the 30s. So, yeah, there's a total difference between how Democrats treat their unpopular presidents and how Republicans treat their unpopular presidents. And the difference is pretty stark. On the verge of his second term, even after his first popular vote victory in 3 tries, Trump's approval is weak. A new Marist/NPR poll put it at just 44%. 49% say they disapprove of him, underwater by 5 points. The Economist/YouGov poll gives him a similar 45-51 split, while a USA Today/Suffolk University survey has his favorability/unfavorability at 47% each. That's the best thing he's got among those 3 polls. The reasons Trump remains unpopular are, at this point in his career, both obvious to anyone and unlikely to change. No wonder then that Republicans are so eager to inflate the size of Trump's victory. It's their best hope that Democrats will be scared away from being too full-throated in their opposition to Trump's nominees and policy agenda. Unfortunately, it has never been too hard to scare Democrats, many of whom always worry that a misplaced word or insufficiently focus grouped proposal will doom them to defeat. And it sometimes appears that they are fooled by his incessant bragging and the intensity of his supporters' devotion into thinking those supporters are more numerous than they are. So obviously, they mentioned the reasons for Trump's unpopularity. There's a lot that could go into that. I'm not going to spend too much time going over the reasons, but I definitely think that Republicans feel a little insecure about Trump's unpopularity, and that's why they want to tell Americans that he's popular. That's why they want to go on and on saying, well, everyone likes him, of course. You know, they look at guys like Obama, who entered office with an approval rating in the 60s. They're jealous of that because they see Obama as, you know, one of the worst, probably second only to Biden. They see that Biden started with a high approval rating, you know, at least compared to Trump. You know, and they look back on the days of Reagan, where Reagan had a really nice approval rating and was just all around popular, even among Democrats, Reagan Democrats. And they're like, man, can't we have a Republican who's popular like Reagan again, or popular like Obama and Biden? And it's like, no, you can't. This guy's not popular. Sorry, he's a clown. He can win elections, but he can't become popular. We will see what happens in his term going forward. But as it stands, Republican nonsense about Trump being popular is just that, nonsense. Worse yet, it's gaslighting. So do not fall for the gaslighting. Do not get any sort of Stockholm syndrome towards these people as they hold on to power and they attempt to exert it. Don't let them shift the Overton window continuously further to the right either. That's something to pay attention to. Elected Democrats should be closely monitored for capitulation and for any types of ways in which they might humor Trump's delusions and Trump's gaslighting and his gaslighting from the allies in the Senate. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. As always, I look forward to speaking to you in my next video. Have a great rest of your day. And Trump gets inaugurated in 2 days, so be ready to pay attention to politics, but don't make it your entire life. I've got videos on that, healthy ways to engage with the political world. Please watch some more is the merrier videos, because as I say, the more is the merrier.